What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So yes, RJ Barrett, the ex-Duke player, re-signs with the New York Knicks with an extension on that rookie deal worth up to $120 million. I'm pretty sure if he makes like the first, second, or third team, all that stuff, I think he has to just make it once and he should be good to get all that 120. But yeah, I believe he's the first like $100 million youngest player in New York Knicks history. It's pretty crazy, but they usually don't re-sign or keep a lot of their own guys. It's pretty weird, but yes, very good. Congrats to him. Even Zion Williamson got his deal. Sadly, I don't think Cam Reddish is going to get as big of a deal when he was selected in the first round because he just hasn't had the opportunity to play. But overall, the top two guys to get their money. So yes, overall, that's a good thing. And then four-star wide receiver from Arizona, Jacoby Lane, committed to USC. I believe it was like this last Friday. So yeah, some good news heading into the weekend. He is a four-star. Some consider him a three, but once you saw him, he looks really good in his highlights. And he was even one of the top players in the opening invitation where they do like the Elite 11 finals and all that, where a lot of the top players go from whether you're quarterback, receiver, running back, all that stuff. You're there, and he was the one that lasted quite a bit. And you could tell he's a very tall guy, 6'4"-ish, but he has a lot of really good speed and very good hands for catching the ball as well. So he may be a four-star now, could bump up to a 5 coming in 2023. You never know, but yeah, it's a very big, awesome get for USC in my opinion. And of course, he's trying to recruit the 5-star tight end from Arizona, Deuce Robinson, who's out there. So he's already talking to him on Twitter, everything like that. So that's cool. Then USC football recently named their football captains just actually a couple hours ago. For some reason, they haven't put up a graphic on their Twitter, but I'm going to go through these real quick. So yes, Caleb Williams, obviously the quarterback transfer, who's the big time get for them, was named a captain. It's pretty obvious. He's done a lot for them. Not only trying to get his other guys some NIL deals to make some money, but he's one of the better players on the team, and it's showing it because he is a good leader as well. Justin Dedich, an offensive lineman who plays guard and center. Obviously, it's only a little bit surprising to me, but not really, because I've always talked very highly about this guy. I always want him to start the past couple years, and he's never had the opportunity. Always been behind Brett Nealon, who's still there on the roster, and he's a 1 year older player, but wasn't given the captain. It was the younger player, so it's pretty obvious that I know what the hell I'm talking about. But yes, he was named one of the captains, and it's pretty obvious he's one of the more talented dudes, and obviously it's going to be a really high draft pick, in my opinion, when he does decide to come out. Also, the star defensive lineman, Tuli Pulotu. Obviously, he's one of the better guys on there. He is, according to Coach Lincoln Riley, he's a pretty quiet guy, but he is stepping up and being more vocal and all this stuff, even though he might not want to be, but he knows it's going to benefit him in the future. So it's looking really good for him, and they obviously believe he can be an even better player than he has shown the first 2 years at USC, which is nice. So hoping for big things for Tuli this year. And then also to round out the four captains, linebacker Shane Lee, who is another transfer who was from Alabama, spent a year there, got injured, came out over here, and obviously is showing that he still has that mentality from Alabama, showing a lot of good stuff. He was always talked about very highly in the spring, so definitely very glad that it's been sticking around and sticking in those guys' ears and keeping them, motivating them, and keeping them moving forward. So I like this 4-piece group overall. Definitely a lot of positive things about them, so looking forward to them coaching up these guys this Saturday against Rice around 3 o'clock. And then, yes, J.C. Jackson. This is supposedly considered a top NFL player, top 100 NFL player for the Chargers, even though they're going by last year, which means he's technically a New England Patriot, which I don't really count him as this, because even Khalil Mack wasn't even on this because he didn't play that many games for Chicago last year. But yes, they're considering him as an NFL top 100 for the Chargers, and he was at ranked number 20, which shows just how good he is and how sadly and deeply he's missed for the first couple weeks. At least for right now, he's in his first week of the 2 to 4 weeks that he could be out with that little surgery he had. But hopefully it's nothing too crazy like that. He only misses one game, maybe two the most. And then the Chargers have been releasing players recently. I believe it's either tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow at some point is the official deadline where you have to get your roster down to 53. But actually this year is pretty good and surprising that they've added even more spots to the practice squad. Usually it was around 8 or 10, and now it's like up to 16. Obviously, in case there's COVID issues that come up or more injuries and stuff like that, because you are adding another game to the schedule. So that's pretty cool. At least some guys will have somewhat of a good paying job to be on the practice squad and be able to stick around, hopefully make the team. So a lot of these guys I think will end up going to that practice squad, but a lot of them I just kind of hope they're not, because they've been around for a while and haven't really done much. So a couple guys that stood out: Gabe Neighbors, the fullback, was a really good friend of Justin Herbert, who's a star quarterback. So I was kind of wondering if they would let him go or not, because they did draft a guy from Purdue who's basically taking his spot and is more athletic, bigger type of guy. And it's obvious that he took over the role because Neighbors was released. But overall, I think he will be on the practice squad no matter what. So good luck to him. And then Christian Covington was a little bit of a surprise because they did sign him to a one-year deal. He was one of the free agents they had last year. They brought him back on another one-year deal, but decided to let him go, keeping the other younger defensive tackles. So we'll see. Wide receiver Michael Bandy, who did show some stuff during the preseason, had a couple of nice plays here and there. I think he had a touchdown as well, but I don't think he's going to be gone too long. I believe he is the practice squad guy. Covington, I think his name is too much where he'll probably sign somewhere else instead of just being on the practice squad. Defensive end Joe Gaziano, once again a product of the Chargers, who's been around for a long time, so I think he will end up going to the practice squad as well. And then tight end Hunter Kampmoyer, I forget, this is not the USC guy, tight end, so at least he's made the cut so far. Might find out news tomorrow that he was cut, so I don't know what Hunter's future is, but we'll see. Safety Ben DeLuca, they're letting go. I don't really know much about him, so I don't think he's going on the practice squad. Offensive lineman Zach Bailey, another guy I don't know much about. Another guy, defensive end Andrew Brown, don't know much about, so don't know if they're going to keep him again or not. Linebacker Emeka Egbule, he was a 4th or 5th round pick out of Houston a few years back, and he's never made a start, I don't think, and really pushed for really a lot of playing time. So not surprised that he was let go, and I won't be surprised if they bring him back too, because Tom Telesco made that pick, so of course he's going to bring back one of his guys. And then tight end Sage Surratt, who I was obviously rooting for because he was an ex-wide receiver in college, kind of making his way to the tight end position. But they said they let him go through an injury designation, so it could be that they have some hope that he could be able to come back at some point. Could be a practice squad guy, you never know. That's what I'm hoping for. And then another wide receiver I never heard of, Trevin Bradford. Never heard of him, so I don't think he will be coming back, in my opinion. So that's at least some of the cuts that were leaked out. Haven't heard about them all yet, but I'm sure we will hear all of them tomorrow, and hopefully they will put on who made the practice squad as well. So hopefully that'll be on the next video for y'all. Then a 7-footer who is at the Australian Academy, who's playing out there basketball, but his main country is he's from Russia. He is apparently committing to USC or going to be playing for USC this year. I don't know. He doesn't have like a star designation, or I don't know what class he is, so he could be like a freshman. I'm not sure, but his name is pretty tough. I think it's Yaroslav Niagu. Yaroslav Niagu is what I'm going with. Hopefully I'm saying that correct, but yes, 7-footer, power forward, looks pretty athletic. It's always good to have some of these European guys or guys from overseas on your college teams, because they always get nice looks and they're a bit more polished than some of these other guys, because they have always been playing with older and bigger type of players while growing up as well, and they might have already been playing professionally too, you never know. So yes, pretty nice get. We'll see what he can do. Yaroslav, we'll see what he can do. Then USC's Boulevard, their company to pretty much help a lot of their student athletes get their NIL deals and stuff like that. yes, they released a video pretty much on Sunday that it was going to be helping out a lot of people, but they've already have been helping out a lot of football players with their NIL opportunities and collective stuff that they've been able to get for them. And yeah, they're still worried about that. What is it, student body right or something like that? This other thing that's not connected to the school, but they're going to be paying players. But it's also like an ability to help out these players do the right thing and not, get sucked into just accepting money and not, getting it taxed and all this other stuff and getting in trouble. Not only themselves, but the university also. So it's a good thing. Hopefully it does get bigger from the school and help continue to help these students out. But yeah, overall, very interesting stuff coming out of Los Angeles. And then, yes, there are a couple of questions about a couple of talented guys that could be on the trade block or have requested trades. Not 100% sure about that, but it seems like they have because they're not getting the fair shot on their team. So Alexander Madison, who's the backup running back for the Minnesota Vikings, he believes he can be a top, like a 1A or a very good, at least usable second string, because in Minnesota behind Dalvin Cook, it's pretty much Dalvin Cook's show, and then he'll get like a couple runs here and there, not really much, but Dalvin Cook has missed some time, and when Madison has been put in, he's been really good. It's almost been like as good as Dalvin Cook number-wise, so he wants an opportunity to play more, and obviously Austin Eckler doesn't mind being a 1A, 1B, stuff like that. So I think if they could maybe entice them with another running back or another player, maybe a little bit higher of a draft pick, I would say 3rd or 4th round, then I think Minnesota might bite. You never know. It could be a very interesting get for them if the Chargers can pull that off. And then also a wide receiver, Denzel Mims, who I was pretty high on out of Baylor just because I thought he was a bit more than just the very fast Baylor wide receivers who would just go down the field. He could do that perfectly too and make big plays down the field, but he also was able to route run and do a lot of good stuff short and intermediate as well. But he was selected by the Jets. Has been trying to get on the field and trying to play for them, but never really got a full-on role with them. And I believe he's requested a trade as well. And to be able to have a fast guy like that, which the Chargers needed, another fast dude, especially a taller guy like him, 6'3", 6'4", to be able to go down the field and make those contested catches. He's a bit thinner, but with that speed, he should have enough space in between him and the touchdown and the defender. So I think it is a nice get if they can do that, because Justin Herbert's, that's one of his better throws, is down the field to an open guy. So it could be a very nice gets for the Chargers. You never know. So we'll see what they do. And then, of course, my ex-favorite USC quarterback, Matt Barkley, recently played his last preseason game for the Buffalo Bills. He was playing in there. But he actually was the first player since 1987 in the NFL to play quarterback and be their main punter for the game, because there's a whole allegation with the punter that the Buffalo Bills released from San Diego State, who was a really talented player, could punt the ball like 70, 80 yards, but obviously it just came out that him and a couple other dudes gang raped a 17-year-old while he was in college last year. So yeah, it's pretty big scandal and everything. It's tough to hear about, but yeah, overall it was pretty interesting that Matt Barkley made that little bit of history in the past like almost 30 years, something like that. So it was pretty cool to see. But yeah, the whole allegation, hopefully that gets all sorted out. Hopefully she gets the vindication. But yeah, it's a lot of crazy stuff. And then Duke's ex-player Cassius Stanley, he's been bumped around the league, hasn't really got a good role off the bench, but he was recently traded in the G League system for like a couple first-round picks or some good picks to the Rio Grande Valley Vipers, something like that, which I believe is Houston's G League team affiliate. So Houston is an up-and-coming team who definitely want to look at a bunch of players, so maybe he might get a chance to play this season. You never know, so good luck to him. Then Mark Hoppus recently, some miscellaneous news here, that he believes that Tom DeLonge, he kind of hinted that Tom DeLonge could be involved in the next phase of Blink-182. Whatever that means, nobody really knows for sure. I think, like I've always said, it could be a four-person group with the two guitarists, but when it comes to Tom DeLonge songs, Tom DeLonge will come out, play his stuff, and then with Matt Skiba, when the last two records of the stuff comes out, he could come out and play those songs solo while Tom DeLonge gets off stage real quick for a break. I think that's a good little mix they could do. It's nothing bad or anything. You're still pushing forward Blink-182 overall, and it's a good thing, which I hope is what they do. But overall, we'll have to wait and see, I guess. And then, yes, Shia LaBeouf has just been in this whole whirlwind of stuff because this Olivia Wilde, who's now a director, she's been pretty much a main actress for most of her career in the beginning, but this is her second movie she's doing, Don't Worry Darling. And she said a couple months ago that she had fired Shia LaBeouf because she has a no asshole policy or something like that. So, but it's like, why hire him in the first place? Because he does a lot of crazy stuff. Apparently this was done back in like 2020, this movie, so it's been quite a bit. But all this stuff is coming out because then you kind of were wondering why the main star, Florence Pugh, wasn't going to be doing any press for this movie unless it was at, I think it was the Cannes Film Festival or one of those, Venice Film Festival, one of those. And she wasn't going to do any of the press, and people were wondering why her and the director, Olivia Wilde, weren't getting along. And then she kind of came out pretty much saying that she reiterated the fact that she had fired Shia LaBeouf because the main actress was uncomfortable. Pugh was uncomfortable with working with LaBeouf, especially with certain scenes, because there's a lot of intimate scenes. I mean, where they got Harry Styles in there, and then that's a whole nother thing, because Harry Styles and the director, Olivia Wilde, kind of had a fling, which is why she ended up divorcing her husband, Jason Sudeikis, which is pretty crazy. They need to do a movie about this whole situation, but that even made the main actress, Florence Pugh, more uncomfortable because they had to do certain very intimate scenes, like very sexual intimate scenes and stuff. And I know Shia LaBeouf kind of will go a little bit too far at times, so maybe. And plus, there was other allegations coming out about LaBeouf at the time, especially in that 2020 range, which is why why she would maybe not want to work with him at the time. And after this director had a recent interview, he came out kind of basically trying to save himself because she was saying all this stuff, but he's like, no, I quit the job, I left the movie because she was uncomfortable. And then he said, I have emails and I have videos to show, like, of our interaction and text messages that this is the reason why, and I was cool with it and everything was all good and stuff. But then he also released a video that the director sent to him, to Variety or something like that. I didn't hear the whole thing, but I did read like a transcript. It's saying she's pretty much like pleading him, like, hey, don't. The actress has just gotta, like, not worry about it. She just gotta get over it, and everything's gonna be good. I still want you in the film. We need to work really hard. She just has to pretty much suck it up, telling the other actress who was feeling uncomfortable at the time having to work with LaBeouf, who was going through his whole own allegations at the time with that FKA Twigs, I believe it was. And so, yeah, overall, and he still kept saying, like, you know exactly what happened, so you're trying to ruin my reputation even more, even though I've been trying to build it back slowly up ever since all this other stuff. And he recently did a very provoking interview with one of the other actors he's worked with a lot, John Barenthal, who's doing a lot of stuff for YouTube. I guess it's a YouTube show he's doing, talking with, real ones, people that he's been really close with. And it's like an 18-minute interview, and the whole entire time he's like, yeah, Shia LaBeouf's been saying, like, yeah, he uses movies and stuff and all that to kind of be able to put a band-aid on everything bad he's done, so he's able to move on and focus on that instead of what he did and what he's been doing to people. So now that he's officially good and in rehab and almost tried to kill himself, or had a gun basically ready to go to kill himself, he's on the right path and doing good stuff. But then all of a sudden you're getting trashed in the media by this person that everything was cool with at the time, when you kind of let your relationship go, or the working relationship go. So now he has to kind of fight for himself and show that, yeah, that's not what happened. You're lying. So let me give all the evidence, all the receipts, as people say, and he brought them all out. And obviously, it's a bad look for the director because everybody's against her now. Because not only was it stuff against Shia, yeah, people are still upset with Shia because of his past, but sure it'll come out officially that, yeah, he's been doing a lot more stuff to get away from how he was before and officially be on the right path in life. But yeah, and even the relationship with the actress as well, the main actress of your movie. And this movie is going to come out in September at some point, like mid or early, something like that. So it's very bad timing for her to do that interview. She should have just waited till after or something like that. But yeah, it's pretty crazy what's been going on. And of course, they're going to have to do interviews and stuff and promotion for this movie. So you never know what's going to happen if they are going to, or if Warner Brothers is just going to tell them to keep hush hush like they have been with Ezra Miller, and that's a whole another issue we don't want to get into. So yes, a lot of talk about Shia LaBeouf, and you can look it up, see for yourself all the stuff he's been saying and what he has been doing and stuff with his life. So it should be very interesting to see what his future holds. But it is a crazy situation that this director got herself into. It's just no bueno. So yes, thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye. Fight on.